How's it going? It's Real WW Talk, and I'm Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
Listen, if you are new to Real WW Talk, first, we want to welcome you here. We are so excited that you are a part of the conversation. But I do want to acknowledge those who have been with us from the very beginning because we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary.
Yay! Lights, confetti.
Lots
Can
of
you believe
confetti.
it? Oh my goodness.
Isn't that
Awesome.
crazy? We've been having these conversations for 2 years. What's changed?
Monkeypox is take out COVID, insert monkeypox.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Ladies, congratulations. We've got over 300,000 downloads.
Wonderful.
And that's just unbelievable. People listening to the conversations all around the world. Over 4,000 people in the Real WW Talk Facebook community. I know on Instagram and YouTube. And we just want you to know how much we appreciate that you're here. These aren't just, they're just not numbers to us. That every number is a person, and it's a person who is forging ahead on their journey, trying their hardest to, like we've talked about, undo things from the past and create a new future. And we're so excited that you want to join in on the journey with us. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you. And happy anniversary to us all.
I know we need a celebratory something.
Right. Well, I mean, think about how life has changed in the past 2 years. For all of us,
Yeah.
right? I mean, all of us have been through some really significant things in the past 2 years. And I think that it is when WW talks about doing WW for life, it's not doing WW for life like I'm going to be tied to this program forever, but it's the tools and the resources that we need to be able to approach life in a, I don't know, I guess an addiction-free way when it comes to food, right? We're able to put food in the box where it belongs, and that's nourishment. So that when life goes upside down, we can not be overwhelmed by it, or we've got really good tips and resources to be able to manage our way through.
Yeah, we've got a game plan. That's how we get through this. That's how we do it without going crazy. So, yeah.
So thinking about like when we started at this time last year, like what our expectation was then and what's the reality now? Like what? So I'll actually bring back to what's changed in those 2 years. Like 2 years ago, we probably expected to be in much different places than we are, but the reality is we're where we are. Who wants to tackle that first?
Well, I'll just say, I mean, I expected to lose weight, but not in the manner, all the hills and valleys that it took to get to this point. I certainly didn't think cancer was a part of the equation, but I've been trying to embrace, all of the things that it took to get to this point, because it, like you said, I had this vision that I was going to be at goal by the end of the first year that we were filming Real WW Talk, and that I was going to show people how every single week I was losing the 2 pounds, even though I knew intellectually that probably wasn't going to be the journey. That was the goal. And to see how it's not been that, but that there's still been growth has been kind of beautiful, to kind of have to embrace a new Candice and a new way of viewing myself.
What's been some of the growth?
Realizing that I'm not in control, that there's some things I do control and some things that I don't control, has been because I'm a control freak. And so I really felt like I've always been trying to make things happen in my life. And now I'm at a place that's more accepting and moving along with things. And it's helped me with my weight loss. It's helped me with my exercise. It's helped me not be so rigid. And just how I confront the world. So that'd be the biggest change for me is the control that I've let go of, that life has forced me to let go of.
And you can't control cancer.
No. Like even with this, like, so as you know, for those who are watching maybe on our YouTube or on our Facebook group, I have on a scarf today, and it's a really cute one. And I was showing them the picture on Amazon. It did not like, it was this Caucasian girl who's like touching her face. And and looking over to the side while like she looked like she was on a cruise ship. And this is not kind of doing that, but it's kind of cute. It matches my shirt. But you know, I've been trying to cold cap to save my hair through this journey. I have 10 more rounds of chemo to go, and you know, my hair is still thinning. I still have hair, but it's not as full as it was. So having to embrace the fact that sometimes you try things and sometimes it works, and it may not work to the level that you want, but you can still find ways to be okay and happy. And I'm going to rock this little thing as much as I can. That's a letting go.
Very elegant. It really
It
is.
is.
That's what we both said when you came in, and then you over explained everything instead of just receiving that you look fine.
But you know, when you have and that's probably
Yeah.
a part of it too. So when you have an insecurity, and this cancer strips away
Yeah.
so much of like, I think for me as a female, things that were tied to my identity, my hair, having to change the bosoms because there's going to be surgeries and things, nails being different colors and stuff. It's something that it's hard to sometimes accept. Losing your eyebrows that you have to learn how to pencil back in. Those things are things that 2 years ago, I would have thought that there's no way that I would ever be able to do that and to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fighting really hard to make sure that that would never happen once I did find out about the diagnosis. So again, answering your question, that's something that I've had to learn, that has helped me be more fluid. Life has forced me to recognize and to accept that even with my weight loss, when I'm on steroids for this stuff, my weight goes up 5, 10, can go up 5, almost 10 pounds. I mean, overnight, and not from anything that I've done. So the scale is no longer an indicator of my success, because it'll go away. It goes away, but it's in this season, it can't be. It has to be tied to something that's more sustainable, something like mental health or like how I'm processing. So everything was about the scale earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Candice, the things that I've seen in you that have changed over this 2 years are exactly those things of the loosening up.
Yep.
I mean, especially through the cancer journey, especially, but the mental health work of the scale is not the be all end all. We, you know, and even counting the points, right? Like that's important if you want to lose weight. If you know, only track on the days that you want to lose weight, right?
Yeah. Only on those days. No other day.
Just those days. But even the loosening of the reins on those things and embracing nutrition, embracing new things. You've actually embraced a lot of new things, new foods, and it's the open-handedness.
Yeah.
And when we're open-handed, it's hard to control things when we're living open-handed because our hands aren't wrapped around things, right? There are things that come and go, like we talked about, you know, an episode or two ago.
More with an open hand and with a fluid mindset that kind of isn't trying to control. I found that actually I'm gaining more. And ironically, from letting go of the rigidity of how I thought things were supposed to be, even with foods. Like, I don't like zucchini. No, I'm going to try it. Oh, I don't like tomatoes unless they're blended. Like, that was very specific. It had to be a blended like a pizza sauce.
I won't try a cashew.
I will not try a cashew. And you know, just saying I'll try it. If I don't like it, then I don't have to have it again, but I'm going to just try that. Yeah. So yeah, you know, it's been wonderful. And I'm really interested to know for you guys, how do you feel that you have changed? Like,
Rikki?
I can share. So for me, it hasn't been a big change on the scale, unfortunately, but it's been a challenge to realize the why and to do the work to realize why. You know, part of it is being a part of the same thing for a long time, not truly saying, oh, I've been 100% invested in it for all these years, but why not? And it's gone back to self-worth. And I've realized in the past year how much I overlook myself, how much I don't value self-care, how much I feel like I'm saying yes to myself. But really, I'm saying no to a lot of things. I'm saying no to a healthy lifestyle. I'm saying no to truly following the plan. It's been a yes in the moment to self-gratify or to give myself, momentary, I don't even want to call it happiness. It might feel like happiness in that moment. But so for me, this year has been doing the work to say, I have to get out of this place of not valuing myself, because it's a cycle. It's a circle of, I don't value myself, so I don't value what I put in my body. I stick to the routines. I don't break the habits that I need to break because I don't feel like I'm worth it. And because I don't feel like I'm worth it, I don't feed myself well. It goes back in that cycle. So it's hard, because when you get to that place where you don't value yourself, it's hard to just say, I'm going to start treating myself well. I'm going to start, doing that, because I don't think really, really long term. I don't think like, hey, what is it going to be like when I'm 80? I've lived for the moment right now, and I don't want to do that anymore. And I think that's the turning point for me, is saying I don't want to do that anymore. And I've had to face some health things this year that I haven't had to face before, even though I have been at a heavier weight for a while. So now I'm facing some food restrictions and things like that, which you think would make things easier in a way. But at the same time, if I'm still at that place where I'm not valuing myself, it's like, okay, tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll get rid of the coffee completely, or tomorrow I'll stop doing that. And so that's been the challenge for me, is doing that work on valuing myself and making choices that are good for me in the current moment and in the future.
And like you said, that's easier said than done. And I think many people can relate to that. I can understand and empathize, especially with the feeling of, okay, well, I have to make these changes. I understand that, but I'll do it tomorrow. It's always the promise of tomorrow being some day that's magical and that's going to make you're going to do everything right then. But it's putting off, something from a place of not valuing yourself. I think that is very well stated, and I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Rikki, and I hear you share that. And I think, like, the things that I think about when I think of Rikki Kiki, as I will call you. Like, oh, what happened? My light just went off.
They were like, what are you about to share? What are you going to share?
Like, no, call her Rikki, not Rikki Kiki. Okay. Oh my God. I don't know. Whatever. It's died. Oh wait, hold on.
And we can't even hear
technical
now.
difficulties. We're just hanging on the edge of our seats.
I know. Now I need to, Rikki, what
it's
are we
really
going to
dead.
do?
Okay, it's really dead. You have the biggest heart of people that I know. You're one of the kindest people that I know. You believe the best in people. When I sit over here and I snark and have smart comments, Rikki has just, when I think of Rikki's heart, it feels like pink and glitter to me. And it makes me sad when I hear Rikki treat everybody with pink and glitter instead of herself. And I can hear the hurt in you. I can hear that brokenness. And I'm glad that I hear it, because it's when we become broken that we start to heal things, and we allow that healing in. And that makes me so excited for you, because we can tell you all day long what we see in you and what we love about you. And you need to hear those things from us, because as your friends, we will put those things in you until you believe them. And the minute that you start believing them, and I know that you believe them, it's trusting them. And trusting what we say is true, but only you can make that true. Is when things start to unlock. And, we've been friends for a long, long, long time. And I've seen the ebb and flow of it. And, we want those great things for you. And sometimes things come as cutbacks. setbacks, and sometimes good things come as setbacks, and they hurt.
Yeah.
I think about my basil plant. I love growing basil. It's about the only thing that I can really truly grow. But my basil plant, as soon as it starts getting some shoots out of the ground, the first thing I do is I go prune it. I prune the little center, and at first it looks like it hurts the plant. But actually what it does is it forces it to grow.
Yeah.
And you keep pruning and it keeps growing bigger, wider, and fuller. And sometimes we have to look at the things that come through our life as pruning, not as the end of things, but it's the opportunity that something will bear more fruits.
Yeah.
And that makes it's a mindset. It's a mindset shift. So even right now with Rikki, like some of the cutback that you're feeling from the illness, right? That is a pruning opportunity and a way to even funnel you into some different choices that maybe you haven't been strong enough to make. And right now, when you work on them, and you are working on them, who knows that door may open up again, but it may be the shaping, the pruning that you need right now. That's the way I've looked at my my gluten and dairy and all of that jazz, right? That's actually helped funnel me to eating more whole foods and more nutritional foods.
But have you noticed that for all of us, like even the
Yeah.
cancer, the things that are the toughest, whether, sometimes are the things that kind of get us to where we need to be. And Rikki, one of the things I love about you being willing to show, the emotion and stuff is that's indicative of you being willing to fight. When you have no feeling about it and you're apathetic and like, well, this is the way I am.
Right.
Because people get there. This is just who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change. I've tried for years and it just is what it is. And I know I'm like there. I know what I need to do. And you have been making actionable steps. You've taken action steps. You're walking in the middle of the day. When you said that you really didn't do that, you're trying new things. I think that when you're so close, like this is the time to really dig in. So I'm just really, really excited to see the way that you're willing to really try to work through it.
Yeah. I think we've heard from so many people who've hit lifetime who have shared how challenging it is. But I think what we don't see is people who have been in a journey like mine, where it's like, which you guys have been there, but like, I don't think we share it enough, how it can take decades to truly get rid of this and to truly, my identity has been around being overweight forever. It's not an identity that I've wanted, but I look back on photos of myself as a child and I've been an overweight. I was overweight then. My habits were rewarded with food. I know we had a whole conversation with that, but these aren't habits that I'm undoing just from part of my adulthood. And this isn't an identity that I'm changing just from, overnight, that I developed a couple years ago. My identity has been around being a little chubby girl, and it's not something I've always dreamed of, being skinny and wearing Hollister jeans and whatever it is. I've had those aspirations, but I've never realistically been a fit body. So for me, it's changing the idea of what a fit body is. I don't need to be 110 pounds. I don't need to fit into the skinniest of skinny jeans, but I do want to be healthy and I want to be around for a long time. And
you're writing a story for yourself that doesn't yet exist. And it's hard to believe that this story will exist when you've never seen it.
Exactly.
And that's where faith comes in. That's where confidence in yourself comes in. And that's what you're working on right now, is building that confidence in yourself that I can create a new story for myself, that this may be reaching all the way back into my childhood, that this is what I've always known, but that doesn't mean that is what always will be. And you're having the courage to confront that in your life and saying that this is no longer acceptable for me. This is the life that I want. and I'm going to work on shedding these things. What is to come in the future actually has nothing to do with your physical weight.
Mhm.
It has everything to do with our mental weight. And those are the things that we've been working on. Those are the pieces that hold us back
Yeah.
from becoming who we want to be. And that's the work that you're doing and have been doing over the
Yeah.
past 2
And
years.
I think it's okay to acknowledge the fear in that too, because it's the
Yes.
fear of the unknown is a real thing. I don't care if it's a positive unknown that you're striving for.
Mhm.
Negative, it is unknown, and we as human beings are creatures of habit,
Mhm.
and we find comfort in the familiar. And having to branch out even for a little bit. I think that's why when we do those habits, like we've talked about, where you'll do it for a few days and then you run
Mhm.
back to what you know,
Mhm.
even instinct, it's kind of subconscious to run back to just
Mhm.
the way that we have been.
Mhm.
And
And
I don't think the fear is so much about the unknown of what's in the future. Because why would we want to run from good health is in the future, right? Think about all the positive things that are in the future, right? I think it may be the fear of letting go of what we've known.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I mean, do you think that could be we're letting go of comfort. We're letting go of what's known to
Mhm.
step into something that is unknown, but we also know will be good for us.
But I think it's the Marianne Williamson quote, it's our light, not our darkness, that scares us, right? Who am I to be brilliant, fabulous, whatever? Who are you not
Right.
to be? So I think I hear you and I agree with you, Erin, that is a piece of it, but I still feel so strongly that sometimes, even if it's a good thing, why wouldn't I want those things?
Right.
But that
Mhm.
is scary, because with that can come what we've talked about before, the expectation from others that you're going to perform at a certain level,
It's
or that
true.
you're
Yep.
going to do these things because you got this piece together.
Yeah.
Well, and just adding on to that, one of my closest friends is she's a recovered alcoholic, and I know Erin, you've shared about your coworker who talks about his, former life with addiction. And one of the things that people who have been addicts do is they change what's around them. And there are ways that we can do that as food
Mhm.
addicts, or as, people who are trying to change our lifestyle to be more healthy. But there's so many ways it's hard to do that with food. I feel like there's, you might completely disown someone because you used to do drugs with them or you used to drink with them, and you're saying, I'm not living that lifestyle anymore. But
You have to
have you
eat
ever
every
known
day.
anyone? Yeah, have you ever known anyone to say, you used to go to Cheesecake Factory with me? Sorry, we can't be friends
I
anymore.
don't do that anymore.
Right. You might have to say, let's go for a walk instead or whatever. But like, there might be changes in friendships too. And I
Mhm.
think we don't acknowledge that enough, that there's other things that you might need to let go of. I mean, even parts of relationships you might have to let go of because you're not going in the same direction anymore.
So
And
true, Rikki. Oh,
Mhm.
so true.
Yeah, gosh, I remember when I first started doing WW and work lunches.
mm,
We go out and eat all the time, and it was, I need to decline going to this work lunch because I'm not at a healthy place to be able to go here and choose differently.
mhm,
Mhm,
And then that started to kind of build a little bit of a wedge
mhm.
mhm.
because I'm the party
It's
pooper.
social. It's
Yeah,
just, there's a
Social.
social aspect to
It
it.
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Mhm,
And see, mine was my fear is also, as much as I might have the bubbly personality and seem very extroverted when I'm really introverted. I'm an introverted extrovert. I know no one believes that, but it's true.
Both ways. Yeah.
But when sometimes with weight loss and with changes, there's a lot of attention and focus on you, right? And that can be very uncomfortable when you're used to kind of blending in, and kind of fading into the background. And, no one expects you to, I don't want to say not shine, but when you are feeling better or looking better, people tend to want to comment on it.
Mhm.
And that can be uncomfortable for those who don't
Mhm.
really want that type of attention. It's like you do want it,
mhm,
but you don't.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to say that also can kind of make you then want to revert back to behaviors that will keep you out of the spotlight,
Mhm.
even if they harm your health. And I think that's sometimes why we're people of faith. We feel, God maybe gives us things that say, oh no, you're going to have to figure out how to get over that because you're going to have issues with gluten. I'm going to give you cancer. I'm going to let this happen so that you can push past that barrier. Because it doesn't really matter what other people say. It's not about others. At the core of it, it's about our health and about longevity and about feeling good and being able to really optimize our life. And taking it away from other people is a hard thing to do, especially when you're a people pleaser. Too. That's another, when your life has been about others and service to others and wanting others to feel a certain way about you. So, like I said, Rikki, it's just so, it brings up so many emotions for me too. Cause the only thing that changed in my life was I was super scared of what it would mean if I didn't change. And the fear of not changing became chemo brain. Help me say it best.
Stronger.
Yeah. Than the fear of staying the same,
Yeah.
So, well, Erin, what about you? How do you feel you have?
Ooh,
expectation versus reality.
So expectations of mine, I expected that I would probably be down another 20 pounds from where I am now. Reality is I'm not, but the reality is though I have lost all of my COVID weight, and I'm at a comfortable weight for myself, and I have to rest in not being comfortable because I do want to lose more weight, not out of I want to lose more weight, but just for my general health and movement. It's healthier for me. I want to get stronger. It's less about losing the weight as it is it's less about losing the weight. It is more about being the healthiest version of myself that I can be. And I would say back then I was obsessed with number on the scale because I'm watching the scale climb, but I'm not doing the work to make the scale go in the direction that I wanted. I would say that I was pretty hypocritical. I wanted to control the story and the narrative around it, but I wasn't doing the work. It was very inconsistent. And it's funny, I listened to part of our first episode that I sent you guys.
Yes.
And consistency was the thing for me. I was like, I need to be more consistent. And I could say it every single week, but I didn't do it. And I would say I'm now at the place where I wanted to be then, where I am consistent in my effort, in my food. I'm much more in control of it without feeling like I need to be in control, if that makes sense. Like I gave up control to be in control, which sounds, it doesn't sound like it makes sense, kind of a thing.
So you and I were on a parallel journey then.
We were on a very, you and I have very parallel. We're very parallel. We're very similar.
Erin, I have a question for you. So now that you have lost the COVID weight and you're kind of feeling a little more comfortable, obviously you said you still have goals. Do you find it more difficult to, I want to say push to get to the next stage of Erin because you've had so much recent success? Do you find that it's made you in any way possibly complacent, or does it motivate you?
I would say that I'm comfortable, and I don't know with where I am comfortable right now, meaning for the first time in a long time, I'm not ashamed of myself. For the first time in a long time, I'm not looking at myself and criticizing myself. And I like the way this feels. And I often feel like when I start weight loss journey, or I start digging in for weight, it's because I'm criticizing myself. It's something that I don't like about myself, therefore I'm changing it. And I think with my mentality right now, I'm comfortable. I like who I am. And as I continue on my health journey of exercise and choosing the right nutritious foods, the weight will go the way that the weight's going to go naturally down. And I don't want, instead of it being weight forward, weight is like the last thing on my mind, because I'm about drinking the water. I'm about going for my walks. every day I'm about eating fresh fruits and vegetables and, good proteins. And I'm, eating desserts here and there, but I don't feel dominated by it in my brain anymore. And that to me is the place that I've been working
That's
towards.
freedom.
Yeah. It's freedom in my head. And I will say Atomic Habits, reading the book, was super helpful for me getting on the path towards that. There's something about the one quote in there that talked about when it comes to a presidential election, you don't have to have 100% vote. You need 51% of the vote. And if you can do 51%, you're on a winning. So how can you do 51% and then some? And it's like, I'm casting this vote for myself for the future. And so what does that look like for me every single day? What does it look? And I will say, here's another piece too that I've thought a lot about. I often feel buried. I will often feel buried underneath of things, and realizing that I'm not. Feeling like I am doesn't mean that I am, because feelings will lie to us. We've talked about that before, and that I literally can change my mindset and go, I'm not buried by this. I actually own this. And I'm going to own my actions here that have led to this space. I'm not going to beat myself up anymore about this. I'm going to take charge of where I am right now, and I'm going to move forward. The past is in the past, and I'm going to move forward. There's something about being able to do that feels very freeing. Like, it is up to me to make that decision. No one else can make that decision but me.
Yep. Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I've had that same kind of come to realization, and there's something freeing about knowing that you are empowered to do that.
And I look at the so many people in our Real WW Talk Facebook group, kind of where they are, the changes that they're making in their life, the digging in and the success. And I look at myself and I'm like, okay, I'm 41. How did I get to be 41? And there's some people who are listening to it going, oh, sweetie, 41, But if I'm looking at 50, like, that would be like the next milestone. Like, who do I want to be when I'm 50? I don't want to be dragging this around with me. I don't want to be, what I don't want to do is get to my 50th birthday and get on the scale so that I can remember what I weighed on my 50th birthday.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's how much weight has been part of my life. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want it to have that place in my world anymore. Like you're talking about with Rikki, like what we identify with, like, weight has been with us since we were children.
Yeah.
And at some point I've got to undo that. And the only way that I'm going to start by undoing it is literally to not get on the scale on my birthday. So that I don't associate my weight with my birthday anymore.
Yeah. And for those who do, there are some who are able to have their I know many people who are daily weighers, and it just doesn't affect them. They don't have, it's just like brushing your teeth. It's just like,
it's a data point.
Whatever you need. I think what you're saying is, I don't want it to be this literal weight in my mind.
Yeah.
Because just like you, my birthday's coming up, and it's sad that I can go back and remember that it was like New Year's for me. This is going to be this year. I'm going to make all the changes, and this is what I weigh on my birthday. Instead of it being, it's my birthday, and it's a beautiful day, and it's not about how much I weigh. I'm going to do the habits because they make me feel good. And that's what I hear you saying, Erin.
Yep.
It makes me feel good to walk. It makes me feel good to drink my water. It makes me feel good to eat fruits and vegetables. Those are the things that, and more often than not, I have, I eat dessert sometimes, and then sometimes I don't, but it just is a part of my life. It's my lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's where we all should be striving to be.
I would say that's the reality all three of us are trying to create. We can have all the expectations in the world, but if we knock off the expectations to just drive towards the reality, we'll get to where we want to go.
Yes.
Amen, sister.
100%.
Woo! Guys, I love when we talk like this. This just fills my bucket.
Can I say, just do a quick shout out to Dropping Into Happiness podcast, who gave us a shout out. That was really sweet of them. And it sounds like they also shouted out Atomic Habits, and we have some similarities there. And it's another great resource if you need to listen to some people who've been on this journey and have been around the park a few times.
Yes. I know both of the women who host the podcast, they're also WW coaches and I mean, phenomenal coaches. And so, but Maggie
And Rachel.
and Rachel. So you can go look them up in your WW app so you can join into their meetings. This is something that they do away from WW. But the cool thing is they've got a little bit of that expertise as coaches, that they've got that little bit of authority that they can bring to it, even though they don't speak as WW coaches. And then you have the Three Hot Mess over here. They don't pay us. We just tell you what we think. We just do the real life of WW. We can be a little bit more unfiltered.
Yeah.
A little bit. We're purely unfiltered over here.
We're not getting anything. They took our Bravo stars. So if anything, they take our wellness wins and our Bravo stars.
Oh my gosh. I haven't even talked to you guys. You guys did that last week when I wasn't here.
I'm not bitter. I don't care.
Listen, I went and spent all of my wellness wins because I knew the only thing that was going to be left was going to be those daggone subscriptions. I spent 13,000 wellness wins.
Whoa, what did you get?
I got the pocket knife. No surprise. No surprise. I got
Erin, you don't need anything else for your purse, okay?
But this pocket knife has a tiny pair of scissors on it.
Oh,
that sounds amazing.
It's amazing. So I'm going to keep that one at work. I'll keep that one there because you never know when you need a tiny pair of scissors. This is so adorable. What else did I get?
You know what I got? I got the thing that holds the charms that it's a Weight Watchers charm holder, the little keychain thing, because I only had 1,500 left to spend.
Aren't those free?
I was like, you know what? Just go ahead. Let's do it. But David's like, my husband was so confused. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I have to spend them before they go away.
Right now, I saw it and went, I got to get to the store right now because all these people could be snatching up all the good stuff.
Yes.
By the time I got in there, like they had already started snatching things up. I did get the bags. I got the Ziploc-y bags.
Yes.
Yep.
I got a cookbook because I don't know why. 2 days before they announced it, I accidentally pressed the little gift box thing and I was like, oh, I forgot about wellness wins, and I bought a cookbook. And then I had like 2,000 left and they announced it and I was like, well, what do I do now?
Well, I was waiting for them to put something new in there because it was basically wine glasses and subscriptions. And I'm like, I'm not doing a subscription because I know I'm going to forget to cancel it. So that's not happening.
Yeah.
And I don't need wine glasses. So, and I'm not buying skin serums or whatever. So, but here I am, I'm getting a pocket knife.
Yeah. I had a friend call me. She sounded like a WW drug dealer. She was like, give me some of your wellness wins. She's like, how many do you left? She was like, I mean, maybe we can combine them and get something really good. I said, I don't think we can combine our wellness wins. I think what you have is what you have. She's like, oh, I just didn't know. I said, the way all of a sudden we care.
If only we all could get this one trip to see Oprah. Who's getting that?
Man,
like that's going to cost you more than you can afford. Okay. You might as well just donate them.
We pull them all together and draw a name out of the hat.
Yeah.
No, but then Candice has cancer. And so we'd all go, no, Candice, you go do it.
Yeah. And I'd be like, okay. That's okay. I understand. I agree. I think
whip off your cap and be like, look,
I will milk it. I'll be like, do you want to see what it's done to me? And then I'll get like I'll make sure I sound really faint and be like, it's just been my dream. My only dream in life.
Only dream.
Don't tempt me. I will.
And then Oprah will warn Oprah ahead of time. And she's like, the only thing that would make her even more happy would be Mariah Carey to come out and sing Butterfly.
Oh my gosh.
And Boys to Men.
Yeah.
Oh, and Boys to Men.
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started. Nope. Look, we have to end this, Erin.
We're done. Thank you for journeying along with us. And we hope that gave you some maybe insight into us, that when we think about our WW journey, it is not always a straight line down, that it's a lot of hills, it's a lot of valleys, and sometimes it might be a straight line for a while, a parallel line. But the important thing is we're undoing a lot of years of, bad thoughts. frankly. Sometimes there's a lot of work that goes along with it's not just losing weight. That's why WW invests in the pillars, especially the mindset pillar. So give yourself some love, give yourself some grace. You are 100% worth all of the work that you are doing. Do not get tired of doing it. It's okay to rest a little while, but don't count yourself out of the game.
And go
Feet
spend
first.
your wellness wins.
And go spend those wellness wins. Feet first, and your head will follow. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.